All right, let's get right into it. If you're prepping for competitive exams here in India, you already know that environmental topics are absolutely critical. Today, we are tackling a really big one that's been popping up in the news, land degradation neutrality, or LDN. We're going to break this down piece by piece so you have everything you need to absolutely ace any question that comes your way on this subject. So here's how we're going to break it all down in this explainer. We'll kick things off with a current affairs hook, something happening right now in India. Then we'll zoom out to look at the global crisis. From there, we'll define what LDN actually is, dig into its core principles, see how it's all measured, and then wrap it all up with a consolidated slide of key takeaways that's perfect for your last-minute revision.
So why are we even talking about this now? Well, it all kicks off with a recent development that takes this huge global concept and plants it right in our own backyard.
Okay, so check this out. Just recently, Delhi's Lieutenant Governor V.K. Saxena asked for a United Nations assessment of the restored Bansera Park. Now, why did he do that? Because the UN Convention to Combat Desertification, that's the UNCCD, had just praised a similar project over in Rajasthan. And the reason for that praise is the key to our whole discussion today. It was for helping advance India's land degradation neutrality goals. And boom, that's our central theme. This one news item connects a local park to a massive global framework.
But, to really get a handle on the solution, which is LDN, we first need to understand the incredible scale of the problem it's trying to solve.
Just let this number sink in for a second. 70%. A truly staggering 70% of all the ice-free land on our entire planet has been changed by human activity. This isn't some small issue. We're talking about a fundamental reshaping of the Earth's surface.
And this isn't just a number on a page, some abstract environmental statistic. That 70% figure directly impacts over 3.2 billion people. That's almost half the world's population, whose lives, their livelihoods, and their security are all affected by the declining health of the land they live on.
So, what do we mean by land degradation? For your exams, this definition is gold. It's the decline in the usefulness, the biodiversity, and the overall health of land. And here's the key part. It's caused specifically by human actions. This isn't some natural cycle. This one's on us.
So, with a problem this enormous, the world really needed a clear and ambitious and a measurable goal. And that goal is land degradation neutrality.
Now, this definition is super precise and very important. LDN is a state of no net loss. That's the core idea. The amount and quality of our land resources should, at the very least, remain stable, or even better, they should increase. And this isn't just a nice idea, it's a concrete target under Sustainable Development Goal 15.3 with a hard deadline of 2030.
So how in the world do we get there? Well, it's a three-pronged strategy, and all three parts have to happen at the same time. First, and this is the most important one, avoid degrading any more healthy land. Stop the bleeding. Second, for land that's already being used, we have to reduce the damage through smarter, more sustainable practices. And third, for land that's already been badly damaged, we have to actively work to reverse that degradation through major restoration efforts.
Now, to guide this massive global effort, the UNCCD laid out a set of 19 principles. We're not going to go through every single one, don't worry. But we are going to focus on the most critical ones, the ones you're most likely to see pop up in your exams.
This right here is maybe the single most important principle to remember. It's called the response hierarchy. Just look at the order. Avoid, reduce, reverse. The crucial point is that prevention is always better than a cure. It is so much more effective and way less expensive to protect healthy land in the first place than it is to try and fix it after it's been damaged. So avoidance and reduction always get top priority.
And to help you lock this crucial hierarchy into your memory for exam day, let's use a super simple mnemonic. A, R, R. A for avoid, R for reduce, and the second R for reverse. Just think of it this way. You must arrive at the solution by taking the most important step first, which is, of course, avoidance.
So how does this hierarchy connect to everything else? Well, first off, LDN is all about maintaining our natural capital. But it also, and this is so important, it protects the rights of people who depend on that land. People like farmers and indigenous communities. It also respects national sovereignty, meaning countries like India get to set their own targets. Think of it like a balance sheet. If you know you're going to have a loss somewhere, you have to plan for a gain somewhere else to counterbalance it. And ultimately, it's all about finding that sweet spot, that sustainable balance between economic, social, and environmental goals.
The practical side of things is just as important. For this to work, you have to involve the local people.
It requires good governance with clear land rights. But this brings up a really big question. How do we actually know if we're winning or losing? Well, LDN has a system. It mandates using 3 key indicators, and they're integrated using a very strict rule called the one-out, all-out approach. All of this data is then used to learn and adjust our strategies as we go.
Okay, pay really close attention here. This section is super important, especially for those objective-type questions. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of how LDN is actually monitored. To track progress, the whole world is agreed on 3 main global indicators. First up is land cover. This just tracks what's on the land and how it changes. You know, like a forest turning into farmland. Second is land productivity, which is measured by net primary production. Just think of this as the land's overall biological health, its ability to grow stuff. And third, we have carbon stocks, measured by soil organic carbon. This one is a vital sign for soil fertility and health.
And you know it. We've got another mnemonic for you. To remember these 3 indicators, just think LPC. L for land cover, P for productivity, and C for carbon stocks. And a simple way to lock that into your memory is to think LPC is the goal for land's perfect condition. Easy, right?
Now let's circle back to that really strict rule we mentioned, the one-out, all-out principle. It sounds complicated, but it's actually simple, just really tough. If you're looking at an area and even one of those 3 indicators, land cover, productivity, or carbon, shows a significant drop, the entire area is considered degraded. That's it. One out, all out. And to count as a gain, at least one indicator has to improve while none of them get worse. This just shows how seriously this framework takes any little bit of degradation. All right, we've covered a ton of ground. Let's pull it all together into one final slide. Think of this as your high-yield ultimate revision summary.
Okay, let's do a rapid-fire recap. The core concept, LDN, meaning no net loss of land, and it's tied to SDG 15.3. The key international body is the UNCCD. Remember the big data points, 70% of land altered, impacting 3.2 billion people. The response hierarchy, our mnemonic is RAR, avoid, reduce, reverse. The 3 global indicators, our mnemonic is LPC, land cover, productivity, and carbon. The crucial rule for assessment is one out, all out. And the Indian context that got us started is Delhi's Bansera Park. This one slide has got all the most important points for your exam.
And that's pretty much the whole story. I'll leave you with a final thought to chew on. You know, as land becomes more and more scarce, balancing our country's need for development with the urgent need to keep our environment healthy is one of the biggest challenges of our time. So, how can this LDN framework we've just talked about give us a blueprint for finding that balance? Something to think about. Thanks so much for joining this explainer, and all the very best with your preparation.